Hello everyone, welcome back. Today, we're delving into a constitutional right that often doesn't get as much attention as some of its counterparts. We're talking about the Third Amendment. Yes, the one that protects your home from unwanted intrusions. The Third Amendment states, "No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house, without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law." What does this mean? Well, in simple terms, it guards citizens from having soldiers quartered or stationed in their homes without their consent. This right to privacy in our own homes was a direct response to the Quartering Acts during the colonial period, a time when British soldiers could demand lodging in private homes. The Third Amendment was created to ensure that this kind of intrusion would never happen again. To understand the importance of the Third Amendment, we need to travel back in time. It was a time of tension and turmoil, the American Revolution. The colonists were chafing under the rule of the British Crown, and one of the major points of contention was the Quartering Acts. These acts, passed by the British Parliament, permitted British soldiers to commandeer private residences, effectively turning homes into temporary military barracks. This was more than just an inconvenience. It was seen as a gross violation of personal space and privacy. The colonists felt that their homes were their sanctuary, a place of safety and refuge. To have that violated by soldiers who could enter and occupy at will was deeply disturbing. This resentment and anger fueled the fight for independence and ultimately led to the inclusion of the Third Amendment in the Constitution. This became a major grievance for the colonists, leading to the inclusion of the Third Amendment in the Constitution. While the Third Amendment might seem like a relic of the past, it still has relevance today. This amendment has been invoked in modern legal cases involving law enforcement or military personnel. You see, the courts have a knack for dissecting the nitty-gritty of the law, and they've had to consider whether there's a direct intrusion into a private residence by the military or law enforcement. The outcomes of these cases have varied, but they all orbit around one fundamental principle. Your home is your castle. It's your sanctum, your fortress, a place where you have the ultimate say on who gets to enter or not. So whether it's a soldier from the 18th century or a law enforcement officer from the 21st, they can't just barge in without your consent. The fundamental idea remains, your home is your castle, and soldiers can't enter without your consent. Let's take a look at a real-world example where the Third Amendment played a crucial role. We're diving into the case of Engblom v. Carey, a landmark decision made in 1982 by the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. This was the first time the Third Amendment was interpreted in a court case. The dispute arose when National Guardsmen were housed in worker dorms while they were fulfilling the role of prison guards during a strike. This case set down three key principles for the Third Amendment. Firstly, it established that National Guardsmen are considered soldiers. Secondly, it confirmed that the Third Amendment applies to individual states as well as the federal government. And finally, it expanded the scope of the Third Amendment beyond homeownership to include those who have general control over a property. This case set three key principles for the Third Amendment, extending its protections beyond federal forces and homeownership. In today's world of advanced security and surveillance, the Third Amendment takes on a profound new significance. It's not just about soldiers at your doorstep anymore, it's about the unseen invasions of our privacy. Indeed, surveillance technology such as drones, CCTV cameras, and data collection can potentially infringe on the Third Amendment by acting as a modern form of quartering, invading our personal spaces without explicit consent. The specter of government surveillance looms large in our digital age. For example, the 2013 case of Edward Snowden and the National Security Agency highlighted issues of privacy and consent in the age of digital surveillance. There, government surveillance programs were collecting large amounts of data from citizens without knowledge or consent. Similarly, drones, used both by the government and private entities, often raise legal concerns. They can easily invade personal spaces, capturing images and data without consent, and may be seen as a form of quartering in the sky. Case in point, in 2015, a Kentucky man shot down a drone he claimed was spying on his sunbathing daughter, leading to a legal debate about the boundaries of personal space and privacy. Moreover, CCTV cameras, while often providing security, can also be a potential threat to privacy. Cases like Bygrave versus the state in 2014 have questioned the legality of constant surveillance without explicit consent, drawing parallels to the quartering prohibited by the Third Amendment. Therefore, the language of the Third Amendment may be steeped in the 18th century, but its spirit echoes loud and clear in the 21st. The right to privacy, to control who enters our personal spaces, whether physical or digital, remains as vital as ever. Our navigation through this interconnected world makes the Third Amendment a timely reminder of the value of privacy and the importance of consent. As we conclude our examination of Third Amendment, it's crucial to recognize its enduring significance in protecting our privacy. Until next time, this is Klump of Cells. Stay curious and stay informed.